Okay, Chanukah Sameach, Boker Tov. We know that we discussed that once the Ner Chanukah, once the lights, the candles have been lit, they are supposed to remain lit for at least a half hour. At least half hour. This is the Zman, the time period through which the Chachamim established that we get the maximum publicity for the Ner Chanukah. So we want the lights to be lit for at least a half hour. Sometimes it happens that due to certain circumstances, the lights on their own flicker out. They extinguish before the half hour's time. So the question is, if it's still within the half hour, is a person obligated to go back and light the lights that have flickered out, that have extinguished before the half hour is up? So the halacha is, hadlaka oseh mitzvah. That means that as long as a person lit the candles in such a fashion that they should be able to remain lit for a half hour, then that lighting that you did is enough to satisfy the mitzvah. So if you have enough oil in the cup to remain lit for a half hour, and you're lighting in a location where you don't anticipate anything should happen to disturb the candle, you're not lighting in front of an open window, for example, where the wind will likely come and extinguish it immediately. So as long as you lit in a fashion where the candles can remain lit for a half hour, then the halacha is that you do not have to go back and relight them if they should extinguish. Why? Because the mitzvah is the lighting in such a fashion that the candles can remain lit. Because of this halacha, there are some interesting applications. Sometimes the people, let's say you have kids in the house. The question is, where should you light that it's going to be safe from the kids? So a person might say, well, let me light over here on the kitchen counter, and in that way, it'll be away from, it's not going to be on a table, it's going to be away from children. They're not going to shake it or anything. And then when they go to sleep in 20 minutes anyway, bedtime, right after Adlakat, we're going to put them to sleep. So I'll move it to the window where it should be. That's not appropriate because, again, since we said hadlaka oseh mitzvah, since you have to light in the proper place with the proper setup, enough oil, not in your windy location, so lighting on the kitchen counter is not what we do. That's not appropriate, right? That's not the place to light. So since you didn't light in the proper spot, you cannot just light there and move it to the window afterwards. No, you can't. Once the menorah is lit, it should not be moved. It should be lit in the proper location and allowed to remain there. Obviously, in a case where there's a concern of children, people knocking it off, you have to try to find something which lechatchila is going to be stable. You can't get involved in a sakana situation. Again, so the halacha is, if the candles, strictly speaking, extinguish within the half hour, you do not have to go back and light it. However, Chacham Ovadia brings down from Yakut Seif as well, it's considered a beautification of the mitzvah to go back and light it anyway. You don't have to, but the best thing is to light it anyway as the hidur mitzvah. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia Omer,